guest. We're going to consider you a guest. We'll clean up when you're done. And stuff. So I am the last speech of the day. It's my fourth speech in that first section of my Pathways. And that is the end of that section.
Awesome.
So I have reached my end game. Okay, I know Disney stole my idea and put out a movie with that name. I'm not mad. I have abjured my frustration with Disney. They can do their thing. If you haven't heard, there was a little movie called Endgame that came out April 26th. In the 2 weeks tomorrow that it's been out, it has beaten records, it's set records, it's smashed records historically for movies across the world. And it's not even the summer season, as Phil said. It's just getting started. So, in all of this movie madness, how much do all of these films make? Kind of a historical perspective. To go through Endgame, this is just a highlight of the list of records and awards that it's earned according to Variety magazine.
Wow.
Variety.com is all things entertainment. They focus on Hollywood. It is the fastest film to pass $2 billion. It did that in 11 days. I'm gonna let you guys do that math. Highest opening weekend, widest opening for a PG-13 film. They noted, Variety.com noted that it opened in 4,460 theaters in the United States. Biggest opening weekend in China. They're a growing market for theaters. They love movies now. They love our movies. Top single day gross all over the world. Largest gap between first and second place at the box office, because the opening weekend, 9 out of 10 people that went to the movies went to go see Endgame.
Wow.
That's a pretty dominant weekend. And the highest pre-sales of any movie. So even before it came out Thursday 2 weeks ago, it had sold more tickets than any other movie had sold before release. So $2.2 billion since April 26th. How does that compare to all of the movies over time? Across the world, the worldwide gross is over there. Avatar is still in the lead at about $2.8 billion with a B. Endgame already is at 2.2, so it's racing up behind pretty quickly. And you'll see across the world, Titanic is a classic movie that's still doing very well. Star Wars, Avengers, Jurassic World, Avengers. They love superheroes all over the world. The United States is a little different. I thought it was interesting. We love our Jedi. It's the only movie in US history that has grossed more than $900 million in the States. Avatar, 760. Interesting, I thought, the comparison. Avatar did more than $2 billion outside of the US. Pretty astronomical number, but it was a good love story in a war setting with all kinds of fabulous special effects. Kind of understand that. Titanic, great love story in an adventure movie, pretty neat special effects. So looking at this, and you can see the years over here, small print, maybe you can't see it in the back, but all of these movies, Titanic came out in '97, set the bar pretty high. Avatar came out 2009, did a really good job, but everything else has come out over the last 4 or 5 years. So does that mean that summer after summer, we just go to the movies more and there are more and more people that go to the movies? Well, part of what affects those ticket sales, you'll know this. Inflation, inflation, inflation. Now, as a semi-arbitrary number, if we go back 80 years to 1939, want to use big numbers since we're talking about big numbers for movie sales, $1 million in 1939 equates to about 18 million today. Or if you're on my budget, $1 back in 1939 equates to about $18 today. So with that, how does that affect the history of movies? What does that look like historically if we factor in inflation? I want to show some ticket prices movie ticket less than a quarter back in 1939.
Wow.
Average of $9 right now. Again, on my budget, I go for Tuesday nights when it's only $5, go to the early shows. That's how I swing that. Basic new car, 1939 was $700. Today, a very basic new car is $16,000. Reference.com says the average car today is just over $35,000, or 50 times what it cost back in 1939. Average income, $60,000 for the household today in the United States. Back then it was under $2,000. So that's an increase of about 30 times. That's not too bad, trying to keep up with inflation. And then the US population was 131 million, about 2.5 times that now at roughly 327 million. So there are a lot more people to go to the movies. And if we look at ticket prices, it's gone up 36 times. Inflation's gone up 18 times. Ticket prices have doubled that. So that's how some of those new movies can keep pace. So if we take all of that into account, if we discount for inflation, historically, here are the biggest domestic movies of all time. That classic Gone with the Wind is #1 at an adjusted $1.8 billion. Remember that Star Wars at $900 million was the biggest domestic box office for raw dollars. So that's more than doubled it all the way back in 1939. We do love our Jedi, so it's still #2 at $1.6 billion adjusted. And you can see how many adjusted movies are over that $1 billion mark. I didn't point out on the earlier slide, but as Americans, we do love our animated movies. #10 in the United States for gross dollars was Incredible 2's, adjusted for inflation. #10 is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. There weren't any animated movies on the international market. So we like our cartoons, we like our Jedi. Don't mess with the mouse at the movie theater, because Disney has bought Fox, they have bought Marvel, they have bought our Jedis and Star Wars. They started Pixar for all of those animated movies. So going forward, those old movies may keep the record, but I think Mickey is going to keep grinding and generating and kicking out billions of dollars. So go see your favorite movie. Mickey appreciates it. Thank you.